is that there's still a lot of lack of communication or even education on how to open that door of communication when it comes to sexuality within partnership. So these people could have children, they could be married for a decade, and the conversations around sex are still really clunky, if at all. And even if they are having it, it's at a higher level where they're kind of separated from it. Like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? But in the moment, it's impossible. Like, well, how do you say what you want while you're in the middle of it? And why is it so awkward? So I think that there's still a lot of struggle in that department.
And I think you're really on point there, because even in big cities, I am seeing that as well. And as for my private practice, like within my clients, I see that as well. People reaching out for help navigating conversations about sex. And typically these are people who have been together for a long time, at least over 5 years. And they're not sure because they have never had a talk about sex before, and sexual expectations and frequencies and ideals and what they want to explore, and or sexual fantasies. When people say like, oh my God, I just love this person so much, we talk about everything. I always ask, have you ever talked about sexual fantasies? Have you ever asked them like, what are some of their sexual fantasies? Or if they ever ask you that, and do you feel comfortable sharing your true fantasies? Some that are even taboo, some that are even probably unacceptable in real life. Like, are you able to say some of these things? Because that's true acceptance right there, right? Like when someone says they know someone really well, it's like, do you know this part of them? Because usually sexuality is shadowed. It's in like our shadow self, and we don't really have a lot of opportunity to let it like shine bright and let it even like lead the life that you live. For me, that only changed 5 years ago, right? Like before that, I had so much sexual shame, even though I've been an educator over 13 years. You know, back in the days, I was teaching sexual confidence, sexual satisfaction, did not feel it. But then at some point in my career, I really kind of broke down, and I felt almost like ashamed of myself that I only talk the talk and I don't walk the walk. And it is something that is to me unacceptable, because every single day that I went to school and teach this topic and try to help people in therapy or coaching, it just affirms to me that like I'm lying to people because I don't live the life and I just teach in theory. So I made a huge change 5 years ago in my life to let actually my sexuality and my passion and my desires like lead my life. And to be honest with you, it has turned out iconically. It has turned out amazingly. And I have, you know, so much thankfulness for my partner, who really allows me to like be who I am and is not ashamed of me, is very proud of me, and you know, proud of my work and all the things I talk about online or on TV or in the media. So I'm lucky.
So with that big change, I think that's a huge question for a lot of women, is this place of stuckness, or if you find yourself in this Madonna whore conundrum, right? Like a lot of that happens whether you've been with a partner for a very long time. Motherhood is also a really big transformation where either you stop seeing yourself as a sexual being or your partner stops seeing you as a sexual being. And then how do you reignite or regenerate that sensuality and that sexuality? Because I feel like it's when I look at sex, I look at it like an ember, and it's something that has to be constantly given oxygen. And even if it's a dull glow, it's something to work with and you can build. But if you let that get snuffed out, starting it, it's almost like trying to start a fire with wet wood. It feels like it's impossible. So I think for me, when I try to sensualize my like day-to-day life and romanticize my life, it sounds so silly, but one of the things I did is I bought a whole bunch of ceramic coffee mugs and I bought gold utensils, and I did like these little things that just made me excited to participate in my day-to-day routine. So for me, that was like one actionable step. But what did you do to get from that place where you felt like you weren't really living the lessons that you were teaching your students?
Also love that metaphor I might have to use that. I'll
Borrow
cite
it
you.
for
I'll be
sure.
like,
Take it. Yeah.
I'll definitely cite you when I use it, but I really love that metaphor because
Thank
it is
you.
true. It's always within us. Like sexuality is such a huge part of who we are. And whether or not you look at it from the Western perspective, which is, the studying of anatomy and reproductive system and our sexuality as a human, or looking at it from the Western philosophy of like the chakras, like one of the chakras being literally the sexuality chakras and the pubic area, and the fact that also it takes two people having sex to create life. And of course, nowadays we have IVF and all that, but it's still like you still need two parts. Like you need that part and you need the other part in order to create life. Like it is so important. It is always within us. Even people who are asexual, right? Like it's still within us. So for me, there are three major practices that I have done and I'm still doing, and is something that I teach my students and my clients when it comes to reigniting or maintaining our sexuality and sensuality. So the three things are split into the mind, the work of the mind, the work of the body, and the work of communication. So the work of the mind, I do that through sexual meditation. Have you ever heard of that before?
I've done like sex magic stuff, but I don't know. Is this different? Tell me what is
This is
sexual
different,
meditation.
but I do like sex magic stuff. Magic with the K, right?
Yeah.
I like that too. I manifest a lot when I orgasm. But
Right, never waste an orgasm.
never. If next time you want a promotion at work, when you come, just like think about a promotion. It will happen. It did for me. So
Same.
yeah, I was like, okay, I wanna spread sex positivity in a TV show, and I had orgasms and did that, and boom, like here I am, second season of Celebs Go Dating. So anyways, the work of the mind is through sexual meditation. And sexual meditation is similar to a regular meditation practice, but it focuses on either sexual thoughts, sexual feelings in the body, or sensations in the body. And you can do this quietly by thinking of the last time that you had a really great sex or a really great masturbation session, or thinking about a hypothetical scenario. It's fun. Like think about your maybe a celebrity crush and what it would be like for them to breathe down your neck, touch your nipples, play with your pubic area. Like what would it be like? So imagining that while meditating and doing deep breath work can really like help with the mind and help keeping sexuality within your mind. A lot of people don't think about sex. So the very first step is actually just to think about it in order to turn yourself on. If you are someone that like guided meditation, I have completely free guided sexual meditation on YouTube. I have a 5-minute one, a 10-minute one that you do solo, and one that you do with your partner as a couple. So all of these practices, like the guided meditations, it's focusing on either like positive sexual affirmations, or it's focusing on sensation. So helping you do body scan, but like a sex version. So there's all of those things that can help you reignite the sexuality within yourself. So that's the work of the mind. Next is the work of the body. I'm a big fan of somatic practices because my whole life I have been studying sexuality and relationships and anatomy like from a very Western scientific perspective. But 5 years ago, when I embarked on my sexual empowerment journey, I actually had to dive myself into the Eastern philosophies and all the things that have existed for literally thousands of years. It's just not as, I guess, accepted in the scientific world of the West. But somatic therapy is body movement therapy, and sexuality and sex is very much moving your body. Right? Like when you have sex or when you masturbate is moving your body and moving energy in your body. So in terms of the work of the body, try searching for like somatic sex therapy videos, and there will be kind of movements that you can follow. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's like moving your pelvic area,
Mhm.
massaging that area, but a lot of it is moving the pelvic area and moving your hips, and maybe like touching your breasts. Or for men also, there's also like touching your genital and behind your ear and your neck. There's a lot of movement practices that allow you to feel your body, and that is a huge part of sexuality, is feeling good about your body.
Oh, yeah, especially for women.